So here we are, driving through the neighbourhood, top down, gorgeous day outside. Just going to give you a little bit of a flavour for what it's like just to be hopping around the doors here. The car's in automatic mode. One thing that I would say about the gearbox in this car is it's really fabulous. If you want to be a little bit lazy and not be on the paddles, I haven't driven a car that did a better job of anticipating what gear you need to be in. Whether you're in GT mode, whether you're in Sport Plus, Race, you never get that feeling that the thing is hanging on to gears until it's revving its nuts off, or that you're juddering along, you know, in 7th gear at 30 miles an hour, which was a little bit of an issue with the 570S I had. You really had to use that car on the paddles because the auto shifts were kind of terrible. But this, very smooth, slurring along. I'm not changing gear manually. This is just tooting along, observing the speed limit. Yeah, speak to you in a second when we got into a better road. One of the super things about this car is the steering wheel mounted preference buttons here. So I'm going to go from automatic mode into paddles with just a simple tap of the button there, which is really super. So now what I'm doing is I'm driving the thing on the paddles. One of the things you'll also notice we're doing now, like 28 miles an hour here, so well below the speed limit. This car has a fantastic hi-fi. It has the Burmester 3D system, but you would never tell because you really can't enjoy it when the top's down. It is so noisy in this cabin. I mean, this is, I don't know how much of the wind noise you're picking up here, but it's like I say, when you want to have the wind in your hair and you want that full-on experience, man, it's fantastic. But tooting around town, trying to talk to the missus when you're getting the shopping, not so great. Man, this thing this is not flipping far off, it really isn't, but refined it is not. There we go. So today I'm going to tell you in 5 minutes or less whether you can really use this Mercedes AMG GTC Roadster as a daily driver. I'm going to tell you what I think are the pros and the cons of the car. I've owned it for about a year now, and what's next on this car's journey. What are the pros? Well, look at the thing. I really think it is drop dead gorgeous. I know these looks can be a little bit polarizing, but I love the steampunkiness of it. I think it even has a little bit of a Morgan look from certain angles, like from the rear quarter. Get stairs everywhere you go without being too obviously in your face. The other obvious thing to talk about is the performance. You know, this Mercedes 4-litre bi-turbo engine is just absolutely incredible. When you're on it with this car, it really handles and rides like a supercar. Don't let the looks deceive you. You know, this car replaced for me a McLaren 570S coupe. It really doesn't give up much in terms of the driving experience when you're on the car, especially with the roof down, where you get the sound and the burps and pops and bangs from the engine. The downsides of the car. You know, I think that the downsides of the car, for me personally, related to the fact that I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into, because I feel this car is really misrepresented in other car reviews. Everybody talks about the ride comfort is incredible, you know, you can daily this thing. From my point of view, the refinement and the ride quality and the noise are really the things that kind of let this car down on a day-by-day basis. The ride is, I would say, almost on the bone-shatteringly side of firm. You know, you've got to have a strong spine to drive this thing through the potholes every day, which I've tried to do for the last year or so. The other thing is that the interior noise suppression is not great with the top up or the top down. There's an SL sitting over here in the garage, and compared to that, the level of sound suppression top up and down is just way worse. I don't know whether you can see this, but this rear deflector is preposterously small and does almost nothing on or off. And as you also notice versus an SL, there is no quarter light window, so you get a lot more buffeting at speed. I saw Steve Sutcliffe review one of these going, oh look, I'm doing 70 and my hair's not even moving in the wind. Maybe that's because he doesn't have any, because it really buffets you once you get over about 50 or 60 miles an hour. The car is surprisingly nimble and agile, but it feels quite light and not that brilliantly screwed together. As you can see, the interior is pretty beautiful in this car. Again, I mentioned the term steampunky before. Love the retro style dials. The materials and the fabrics and the leathers are super high quality, but when you're driving the car, it really feels very light. You know, solid, I guess, but I wouldn't say a floaty ride, but you really feel the whole car vibrating over a rough surface, which doesn't inspire a kind of a ton of confidence. And the road noise inside is really one of the issues. When you're driving this thing with the top down, you have all of the wonderful exhaust note, of course, but what you also have is terrific amount of buffering of the wind. As you can see, this rear diffuser is preposterously small. I'm not really quite sure what it's meant to be doing. There is no quarter light window here, so again, unlike the SL, there is just a lot more wind circulating in the cabin, and that just makes it less of a fun experience when you're driving at speed on the motorway or around a back road. So how would I sum up this car, and do I think that it's possible to daily drive the Mercedes AMG GTC Roadster? I would sum this car up, honestly, as a supercar in hiding. This is a car that's fantastic if you're on it, and if you're not on it, I don't believe that it has the practicality, the usability, the refinement to be a daily driver. There are other cars that I would much rather drive on a daily basis. So if you're going to buy one of these things, know what you're getting yourself in for. I am not saying that this isn't a fantastic car. It is a fantastic car, but also don't be swayed by the motor journalists who go, oh, the refinement's amazing, you can daily drive this, oh look, I've got the top down, it's no different from a hard top. Not the case. What's next for me and what's next for this car? Well, one of the reasons for making this video today is this car is about to get picked up and get shipped away to California, because I've actually traded it in. And I've traded it in for an Aston Martin DB11 AMR. The reason for doing that is to get the daily driver that's got the sporty characteristics, but a little bit more refinement and day-to-day comfort. So watch this space for, can you really daily drive a DB11 AMR? Thanks folks.